Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lissette Jourdain. I'm the director of the Hostos Academy Learning Center or Tutoring Center at Hostos Community College. Thank you for being here today. So we are very excited that we get to talk a little bit about what we did last semester in fall 2024. But before we continue with that, I would love to introduce the rest of the team who made this project happen last semester. So my partner in crime, Ms. Anna Marjanovic from the Educational Technology Office at Hostos Community College. My two senior advisors, the experts in this project, Pablo Nienhusser, math tutor, and Denisse Feliz, biology tutor. And yes, we are going to continue the conversation about artificial intelligence because, haha, artificial intelligence is here to stay, right? And we all need to adapt to artificial intelligence. But we are not going to create, the plan is not to create a debate here whether you are agree or disagree with the use of artificial intelligence. But what we are not debating with this project is that at the Tutoring Center, we were between the predicament, okay, should we use artificial intelligence? What artificial intelligence means for the tutors working at the tutoring center. Does that mean that they are not going to be needed anymore? So we had a lot of those discussions and questions about that, right? But on the other hand, what we needed to do as an institution, we all working together just to facilitate the conversation about artificial intelligence and showing students how to use it ethically. So in academia, there is an ethic protocol that students need to follow. And it seems that that has been the conversation in academia, that students believe that artificial intelligence is the easy way for them to get their answers. And we need to eliminate that. So something that we realized we were going to work within the tutoring center was to streamline their learning experience with personalized, engaging, and having an effective learning experience by using artificial intelligence linked to STEM tutoring. So just a little preview, we created a ChatGPT. The experts are going to elaborate more about that ChatGPT, but just have in mind that the elements and the goals that we kept in mind, one, to enhance students' learning, the continued use of UDL implementation, the use of academic integrity, and also privacy.
Right. So I will just go one step back, and this is a continuation of our project that we started back in 2024 when there was no Copilot, right? So we used ChatGPT and we will demo it on ChatGPT, and we won the Ideas Grant back then, and we just won Adelante to continue with this project. And for this, we are enabling students to participate in line with CUNY privacy policies and academic integrity and UDL. So we are having new tools, but we are also expanding the project, and you will see how. So just really briefly, the tutors were exploring multiple large language models. They actually did not settle for GPT right away. They had to test some others like Llama, Claude, Gemini. They chose Gemini. They will talk why. We created a custom GPT called Tutor Helper. And finally, we are in this process of creating a custom CUNY Copilot. Why Copilot? Because it's CUNY licensed in alignment with CUNY privacy policy. And we will be able to invite students into the process of testing. Okay, so I will now hand it over to our tutors to talk a little bit about their experiences.
So I'll start first. So like Anna said, we started off with Claude, Gemini, Llama, and ChatGPT. The main goal was to explore large language models that will help students walk through some of the problems that they are experiencing, not just simply spit out information at them, because that is not really helpful for what students are looking for in a tutoring session. We saw that ChatGPT really went for an idealistic route, especially with the UDL integration, where it was actually walking through students with those problems, as well as kind of just asking them questions like, all right, what do we do next? What do we do next? What do we do next? are you understanding along the way? And then also us prompting it, having it prompt problems that will help students kind of like summarize everything that they experienced, as well as kind of an exit ticket for the tutoring session, just to see how, if everything went according to plan.
Another thing that we actually looked into was hallucinations. Since Pablo and I were actually from different fields. So basically what we did was that we looked at information that we already knew off the bat, and we compared with ChatGPT to see if it was giving us, it's actually giving us the correct answer. And that's actually one of the reasons why we chose ChatGPT, because some of the other language models that were giving us some of the speech.
Alrighty, so we are going to, our tutors are going to demo it, and I just want to reiterate at this stage with ChatGPT, where we're testing it, we created our own GPT that followed question like inquiry method, Socratic method, not just spill out the answers like they did in testing. So this is a custom GPT. Our tutors will demo it right now, and no student involvement at that stage. All right, and here you go. Oops, this is our helper. There you go.
So for context, I am one of the math tutors at the tutoring center. I primarily do trigonometry, pre-calc, most of the higher math levels. The only one I avoid is statistics. But the one that I'm going to be primarily focusing on here is I'm going to be demoing as a student in a trigonometry class. We're going to be talking, let's say, about conics. I feel like that's one that comes up a lot in trigonometry. So normally what I start off with is a little introduction. So I say, hi, I'm a trigonometry student, college student, looking for help in conics, primarily in circles. Can you help me? So it immediately gives you a bunch of information right off the bat, but it starts off with assessing how much knowledge you have, right? So it says here, how comfortable are you with the standard equation of a circle? Have you worked with completing the square to rewrite general equations of circles? Do you prefer visual learning, step-by-step problem solving, or hands-on practice, right? So this is normally how I actually go about my tutoring sessions, where I actually ask the student, how are you with the problem so far? Or how are you with the content so far? So we prompted ChatGPT to go about a similar method or a similar route with this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be highlighting the first one. How comfortable are you with the standard equation? So let's say we don't know anything about the standard equation. So I'll say I'm not too comfortable with the standard. So they'll reassure us. Thank you for letting me know you're in the right place. So let's start with some basics, right? So this is the standard equation of a circle. It highlights how you can graph it on a Cartesian plane or the coordinate plane with the center as well as the radius. And it gives us that information right here, right? And it will say, all right, so now that we have that information, let's try and elaborate on it with a problem that I'm going to give you. So it says here, here's an equation, right? X minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 25, right? And it's asking us questions to see if we remembered anything that we have here, right? So what is the center of the circle? What is the radius? So just for fun, I'm gonna give it a false answer. So let's say the center is, in this case, it should be 3 comma negative 2, but I'm gonna give it a false one. I'm gonna say 3 comma 2, and the radius is, it should be 5, but I'm gonna put here 25. And we'll see what happens. So it says you're very close, right? So let's kind of fine tune our answer, or let's see what the breakdown should be. And it'll tell you everything step by step gradually. telling you that, okay, the correct answer should actually be 3 comma negative 2 and the radius should be 5. That's all based off of the standard equation that are listed beforehand, right? What's nice here is that it does give us the next question, and we'll this time give it the correct response. So in this case, the answer should be negative 4 comma 1, and the radius should be 7. And it does say, hey, yeah, you are correct, which is awesome, right? But yeah, and then it'll go deeper and deeper into the content. In this case, talking more about how can we take the equation, turn it into standard form, and it'll go deeper and deeper as well, right? We also have it such that once we're done with the session, it'll actually give us some links to refer to or some other ways that we can learn more about the content. So I'll just say here, no, thank you. I am finished with my session. I was supposed to give us the links, but I remember testing it before. I gave out a lot of links to refer back to. But yeah,
Is there any homework for me?
yeah. It's any homework for me. Let's put that. Yeah. And there's other ways that it can do it as well. Sometimes when you're going through it, it'll actually give you quizzes to, like I said before, kind of review or go back to everything that we learned about. But yeah, so that was my demo. I'm gonna give it to Denisse to start her demo as well.
So with me, I'm actually the tutor for biology. So I cover biology from the lowest biology to the highest biology at Hostos Community College. So that will be Bio 101 all the way to microbiology, which is Biology 310. So for my question, let's see, we have a few. I'm just gonna say I'm an anatomy and physiology student. One of the topics that they're covering right now is the heart. So I want to know the differences between the right and the left of the heart, let's say. With me, basically what it does, it actually gives me an orientation. And then after that, it gives me the differences between the right atrium and the left atrium, and the difference between the right ventricle and the left ventricle. And if we actually very good, remember, the basis in biology, we know that the right side is actually the one that brings the deoxygenated blood from the interior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. The interior vena cava is actually from the head and up. So all this whole area. And for lower limbs, it's actually going to be the inferior vena cava. And then from there, it's going to actually go through the pulmonary pumps. And then from there, it's going to go into the lungs, and then out of the lungs, and then into the atrium, which is the left atrium, and then down to the left ventricle. So that's pretty much what it does. So it basically is explaining everything. It even gives me a table. But let's say I have a problem with words, which in most of the cases, some students, they actually do. Whether that is going to be, a disadvantage or a disability that they have, or in some cases, it's because they don't like to read. So I could say, can you please make me a chart or a picture with links? Right now, I search in the web.
Good question. Will we be able to use the microphone just to kind of speak to it?
So far, is that better?
Oh, an icon right there, right next to the stop button. So I think you could probably use the microphone.
Voice, that one has pictures.
Oh, no.
You speak to ChatGPT.
Sorry, yeah, that guy, exactly.
Okay. Oh, instead of typing?
Yeah.
Got it. So the last time it wasn't working with us, that's why. And these are the pictures actually it created on the website. And it's basically giving you a better understanding. And then we could actually get even a source with a 3D. And it gives us some exercise at the bottom for us to practice. Now, another thing that we could do, which is right here, is that we could say, can you please, see, that's why.
Oh, sorry.
So can you please provide me with a quiz, including all the chambers as well as the route of the blood? And it makes you a quiz so you could practice on your own. Now, if you do not want to go this route, you could also ask them if they could actually give you a link for you to go directly to a page, such as like YouTube, if you watch YouTube video, or to actually practice from another page, and it actually does it as well. So I'm gonna do that. Can you provide me with links for quizzes that are available online as well as videos?
Can I ask a question? You're talking about ChatGPT and you also talk about Copilot. Which one do you prefer?
Well, I personally haven't tested Copilot as in yet, since Copilot was something that was, communicated to us that it has been approved and is basically more confidential when it comes to the usage for the students. But for my personal preference, I actually have used more ChatGPT. It's a little bit more comprehensive. At the time that we were actually beta testing this, Copilot didn't actually was out there yet. So Copilot is something that we're actually moving next.
Copilot versus,
We cannot have students interact with this in a session. We cannot have students interact with GPT in a session. So we have to use the Copilot. So we are going to create custom Copilot agents for each tutoring field, and have students with tutors supervising use it in sessions.
Yeah, so just for
You cannot allow students? Curious.
Sorry?
Why is it that you cannot allow?
Privacy issues, because we cannot have them log in with their credentials. Number one, it violates CUNY privacy policy. And number two, we cannot know what students are inputting into ChatGPT. And that now those inputs are becoming property of OpenAI, and that information can be used to train AI. So we are safeguarding student privacy by not pushing it through the school system. So we are pushing Copilot that has end-to-end encryption.
So for the just for clarification, so for the purpose of this specific project we started last semester, we were only able to play a little bit with ChatGPT. Once the tutors were able to assess the limitations of each one of the different agents that they look into, we decided to use ChatGPT. However, you know that there are policies in place within CUNY, and we were not authorized because of privacy issue to involve students in this project last semester. Now, we all know that with artificial intelligence, when we started this project, 2 weeks later, we had the voice, we have the audio, so there were like too many things, and we needed to focus on the implementation of creating a ChatGPT that was going to enhance the students' self-assessment of what is it that they are asking to the tutor and ChatGPT, and also for students to continue using their critical thinking skills, right? So the main goal is for students not to eliminate that, and for students to continue using and knowing what is it that they know. But the vision here is for students to know that if they were to use this ChatGPT because they were not able to use it because we did not have permission to that, it's basically for students to understand back then that ChatGPT, this tool, needed to be used as an academic tool and as an academic resource, not the easy way, which is the myth that we want to eliminate. So this is one of the steps that we decided we wanted to start and working on, just to teach students how to use responsibly ChatGPT. So now, we mentioned this at the beginning of the presentation, so we were able to test ChatGPT with no students. So for the second part of the grant, Adelante, we were able to work on that grant. We started actually this year. So now, with Adelante, because of Copilot, now we are going to be able to interact and include students in this new ChatGPT for the Tutoring Center using Copilot because it is protected by CUNY. So that's the difference. But we were not able to use ChatGPT, including students, because of privacy issues.
Yes.
Sorry, I know that CUNY already has a subscription model agreement with Microsoft for using, I'm sorry, not ChatGPT, the other one.
Copilot.
Copilot, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My mind. So for using Copilot, did you have to have an additional subscription, any additional tokens?
No.
It is protected for everyone with the CUNY, staff, faculty, and students. Yes, there are limitations. What is it called, Anna? Depends on the number of interactions students, the staff, faculty are having with Copilot. That is something that's called message.
Message packs, but these are only for if you want to employ this outside of CUNY. I researched, hopefully fine. So you are fine with your current status. You can use it as much as you want. Yes.
I use Copilot at home and I use ChatGPT, and I don't pay for either of that.
But ChatGPT is gives you daily limit, right?
Right.
But yes, and Copilot is not. Copilot once. I wanted to show you this.
Penny for it.
For the purpose of this research, we needed to purchase the license for
Okay, right.
ChatGPT.
Doesn't stop us.
Limitations as far as we wanted to show to students.
Right, and it allows us to create our own version of ChatGPT. So that's why it behaves like that. You saw that it doesn't give you these long responses on the first try. Those responses are short because we made it short. We wanted to stop the GPT from giving the result, the answer to the question, but rather guiding the student, right? But tutors are still needed because I am interacting with tutors. I'm programming the GPTs, but I don't know if they're hallucinating or not. That's why we need subject matter experts. Like with either of these are not my fields whatsoever. I can just look at them all together like all day long. I have no idea if they're correct or not. Yes.
Something to think about as well is that not every tutoring session is the same, as well as the fact that we're not just helping out students, we're also helping out. We partnered with ARC earlier last semester.
Accessibility Resource Center.
Yeah, the Accessibility Resource Center at Hostos. And we're tackling not just students, but also students with disabilities or with needs. And I've actually used ChatGPT, that same tool that we have with some of those students as well. Not in the sense of having them sit there with me doing it, but it gives me ideas of what I should like think about for the session that's coming up with those students as well. For example, there was a student that I worked with who is visually impaired, taking a calculus class. And and it's very hard to discuss calculus because calculus is, I learned it very visually, and I know a lot of students learn it very visually as well. Being visually impaired is very impossible. Kind of makes it very impossible to work with calculus, but I prompted ChatGPT saying, hey, I have this visually impaired student and we're graphing, what can I do to help represent, like use models to represent that with them? And they recommended me using his hands to kind of help guide him with the graph to help him better understand what was going on in the classroom.
Excellent. Yes, go ahead.
Since we have in CUNY, can we also customize Copilot that you use with it?
Yes. So you just log into Copilot with your CUNY first credentials, and there is create your own agent link there. So we are going to just transfer our custom GPT system prompt into Copilot, not just the comprehensive one. We are going to one for math, one for biology, one for coding, in all STEM fields. And we were also going to talk about personal. Yeah.
And can we use it with students? Like if I do one for biology, for
Yes.
example, can I
Yes.
get students to log in the
Yeah.
way that they can learn?
You share it with. Yep.
Or like open sources
Yep.
textbook
You just share the link with them.
in quantity?
No.
No. Once they're logged in with their CUNY credentials, there's no limit. It might ask you to open a new chat because the context window is a little bit short for me.
About uploading the OpenStax textbooks?
I don't know if it has a lot of tokens to handle internally, but you can, when you create, if it's published online, you just enter the top level URL. And then that becomes the custom knowledge in a second. And then in your system prompt, you will say, do not go on the open web, just use whatever I give you. Go ahead.
So it's essentially like their own, like our own customized chatbot.
Yes, so it behaves exactly what you want. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. You have to kind of, I know they heard it as yell in all caps in system prompts, like do not do this, but it does it anyway. And then you repeat at the beginning and at the end, so it hopefully remembers it, but.
And remember that we are slowly transitioning into Copilot because we started with ChatGPT, we purchased the license, but now we are going to continue our project with Copilot. So hopefully next year, we all meet again here and we talk about what we were
What we
able
have
to
done
do.
is like 10 Copilots.
And for
Right.
future developments, I know it's 12:35 and it's time to go to eat. But we mentioned this already, student participation, that's what we are looking forward to. So now we are very excited about that. The artificial intelligence literacy for tutors, right? Just to teach and continue training tutors on how to use artificial intelligence properly so they can pass that message in their tutoring sessions, and also reducing hallucinations, right? Remember, that's one of the reasons why after assessing the different agents, artificial intelligence agents, we decided to go with ChatGPT because it was the one who was provided the more accurate responses. And this is something that was verified by our expert tutors in the subject. Anna?
Yes. Tutoring handbook is coming up as we as we train tutors. We are going to have sort of micro learning modules for them, which are going to be public, open sourced on the website. And we are, like I said, we are doing Copilot agents, very specific. And I'm also thinking adaptable to various tutoring styles. And for that, we need a lot of human cooperation because we don't know what we don't know, right? We already have questions, but follow us on LinkedIn. And there is this, here you can download the system prompt that we used for ChatGPT. And you can now use that prompt for your own Copilot agents, and you can play with it, you can chop it up, you can do whatever you want with it. It's a long prompt, and you'll see it's kind of coded weirdly. And there's a reason for that. It kind of likes it that way. It's called Markdown language, but you can just use another Copilot. Hey, help me, like, what is this language? Help me tweak this prompt in export in the same format. Yeah. All right, and with that, we thank you all very much.
Very
Thank you.
much. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. What was that?